New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me, yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. So good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever time you're watching this, I am wishing you well in this moment. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for tuning in or for accidentally dropping in. However, you found your doula for grief. Know that you have come to the right place today. You have come to the right place for your journey to heal from grief. So you're in the right place to heal from grief. And I just want to say, if this is your first time joining me, sit back, relax, and just listen. Make this hour about you. If you want to take notes, do that. If you want to call a friend to say, wow, I found this program, do that. And if you're a returning viewer, oh, I'm so honored that we continue to have this magnificent time together. And just like the new beginners, please make this hour about yourself. Drop a comment in the comment box. Let us know you're watching out there. And know that grief is truly a part of the human experience. Nothing to shy away from, nothing to run from. And that is why I am here every week. I am here every week to move that needle on how we're holding grief, to bring grief out of the shadows of our lives and bring it smack dab into the middle of our lives, because grief is a powerful teacher. It's a powerful, powerful teacher. And allowing ourselves to understand grief more fully, that is what will allow us to embrace grief more fully. And maybe I should just take a second to just define loss and grief, how they are married, so to speak. Loss is what we experience, and grief is what we feel. And loss is defined as anything that happens, that happens naturally, something that was even planned. But anyway, loss, is defined by just what I said about an expected or unexpected event that leaves your life differently, and you can't go back to the way it was before. And yes, death is the biggest loss that we will experience. It's the biggest loss that we will experience. It leaves the biggest hole, the biggest vacuum, the biggest void in our lives. So there's grief, and there's death, there's divorce, there's loss of relationships, there's loss of hopes and dreams. Aging is a loss of mobility, a loss of our physical appearance, a loss of our abilities to participate more fully in a physical form. That's a loss. childbirth, graduation, a promotion. Oh my goodness, a geographical move is a big, big loss there. Loss of community, friendships, connections. So all those are losses, and it's losses what we've experienced. And then in turn, that loss shifts us into grief. And grief can just show up in so many emotional ways. Anger, sadness, numbness, total confusion. Did I say anger? If I didn't say anger, and if I did say it, I'll say it again. That's a big one. Those are the symptoms of grief. So knowing that whatever you feel, there's no judgment around it. Knowing that what you're experiencing is yours. We all experience grief in a different way. We're like those beautiful snowflakes where each snowflake is different, though when you look at snow, it's all the same, but each flake is different. So the way we handle grief, loss and grief, is individualized, and it's your way of moving through grief. And I just want to quote an African writer. Her name is Soban Fu Some, and she's made her transition. But just a woman, wise woman, an author, storyteller, poet. But she says that we experience joy and sadness, and many times we have grief that we don't have words for. We have many losses. And it's important for us to grieve, to recover from what we have lost. Grieving is a soul cleansing way to reclaim and to recover our spirit. When we don't grieve, we stay in an unhealthy place and lose who we are. So it is very important to cry, to walk, to be in nature, to express our grief. So we express our grief so that we can feel safe and sane once again. And also so our bodies can recover from the loss. And that is from Sobon Fusome, from a West African writer. And I bring that up because today's theme is insights on grief. Insights on grief. And so, just sit for a moment and think about what you feel grief is and what it's given you. And just be in that reflective mood today. And so with that said, I just have a beautiful, beautiful guest to bring on, someone who's just encouraged and influenced my life in a big way, my spiritual practice even, just the way I hate that word, but I'll use it, has influenced the way I show up in the world. And my special guest today is Teresa Gardiner, and she's a religious science practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living. And she's also a ministerial candidate with Centers for Spiritual Living. And she refers to herself as a wholeness revealer. And I'm sure she will share more about that when she comes on. And so just, join me in welcoming my beautiful guest today, who is just filled with so much spiritual knowledge and ready to share it with us today. So, Reverend Madam, Doctor, I can give you all those titles, Teresa. Today, though, she's gonna be a religious science practitioner and a ministerial student, and I'll save all those other adjectives for later. So, thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for your yes to be here today.
Wow, how
Yes.
sweet, Bonnie. Thank you so much for this opportunity
Oh,
to speak my truth here and to voice my words, just to let them
yes.
out and be free. And thank you so much. You're so
Oh,
lovely. I feel so
oh,
honored. Thank you so much.
Teresa, you're just a
Mhm,
beautiful, bright light. And
mhm,
I say that,
mhm,
with deep reverence and um, with deep meaning. That
mhm.
you are truly a beautiful spiritual light. And what I love about you, Teresa, is that you want to share it. That is your passion. I can feel that in you, that you want to share where you are with each one of
Mm.
us. So, with that, you want to tell us a little bit about you, Teresa. How did you show up today? You didn't just get plunked backstage. What have you been doing?
Mm.
What's your life like?
Well, I want to share just a moment of what started me on this whole journey, I feel, besides being
Okay.
born, right? That when I was 17, I read Alan Watts, and the title of the book is called The Book,
Oh,
the Taboo Against Knowing Who You Are.
okay. The book.
And
Okay.
that really had me explore what gives meaning to my life, what are we doing here, and just lean in. And so
Mhm.
that's been that's been my inquiry, my curiosity of life. uh, so that has led me to, well, in 2013, to the Centers for Spiritual Living. I
Mm.
did a lot of studies before that, but the founder of religious science really, and science of mind, just changed my life, whew,
Mm.
immensely,
Mm.
immensely. Oh, man.
Teresa, you said the book. The book. I love
Yeah.
that. What was it? What was about? What in the book really spoke to you or shifted your
My
direction?
goodness. And that is a long time ago. And let's see. Well, just even the title, that taboo against knowing who you are, because
Hmm.
there's so much conditioning in us that to really lean in and see who we are authentically, uniquely, as an expression of the divine, uh, that we're supposed to conform and be this certain way, and we're conditioned in school by our parents and by society.
Mm.
So really leaning into who I am, and how I want to express, and it's taken a long time. It's a quite a road I've traveled. Um,
Right, 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 right.
yeah.
Yeah, just that when you said that about the book, the
Uh-huh.
taboo against knowing
It
who you
was
are.
my Bible like that. I carried around with me everywhere I went. Oh my God, oh my God. And my eyes open, like there's something beyond what I'm seeing with my eyes. Like
Mm,
the unseen became, I understood that there's something besides what I'm seeing with my eyes.
mhm, right. And did someone give you the book or did you stumble on the book?
I don't recall, but I think it was a hairdresser turned friend turned roommate. It must have been her. I haven't thought about that. It must have been her.
Yeah,
It
because
started me on a lifelong path.
right, right. I mean, books have a way of showing up for us when we're ready for the message.
Right.
Um, I remember when I was turning 50, which was just last week. No,
Uh,
but I remember when I was turning 50 and I wanted to have a big party, but something about it suddenly, I did not feel festive, joyous, in a happy mood. I felt like confused,
mm,
confused. It's like 50. And so I said, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Monterey. I'm just going to spend the day alone so that I can really just contemplate, why am I feeling this way? Went to a bookstore. I said, I'm going to buy a book. And it was called, that book, Women Who Run with the Wolves.
oh.
So I said, I'm going to go buy that book. I had a cup of coffee. In those days, they would let you bring coffee into a bookstore. I put my coffee on the shelf. I found the book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And when I picked up my coffee cup, it was right in front of a book that said The Fear of Turning 50.
Oh,
And I was just
those synchronicities.
mm-hmm,
I love being awestruck by those synchronicities.
mm-hmm.
That just sends me into gratitude to be awestruck like that. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Or confirmed for me my feeling that books show up when you're ready. When you're ready. So the book showed up for
Mm-hmm.
you, that
Mm-hmm.
taboo of being yourself.
Changed my
So
life.
great.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forwarding from that, where
Mm-hmm.
did that lead you to, Teresa? That
Lots of
book.
places. I lived communally for 13 years, and
Mm.
I dived into um, the law of attraction with The Secret.
Oh
And it was
yeah.
actually that led me to Science of Mind. My sister
Wow.
told me about the Oakland Center here in California, um, and I felt I was home. I'm like, oh my goodness, they talk like I do, they think like I do. Ooh, let me lean in here. I want to know more because there's always so much more to experience and know. So
Mm-hmm.
let me there, and I started taking courses right away. And all of a sudden, I was on the practitioner course, and somebody mentioned, "Oh, you could be a practitioner." I'm like, "What's that?" And maybe it was even before someone said that, I got a call. I was sitting in the sanctuary, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am to be a minister. And I wasn't even
Wow.
sure if I believed in God at the time. I'm like, oh my goodness, what?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I felt it really clearly that it was my calling.
To follow that path of being a religious
To
science
to
practitioner.
show up and, to be a role model and to assist other beings and assist myself in finding the way myself and path
Mm-hmm.
to wholeness.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. And so with that, so you did become a religious science practitioner.
Mhm.
And what changed in your life with that? Where did you want to go and be, or was there a clear knowing in being?
My goodness, just doing that, I tell people my life turned right side up.
All right,
Uh,
side.
it did. It turned right side up. And my marriage fell out.
Mm.
That was
Ooh,
part of it. And I started seeing things more clear and being more discerning with my life. And
mm.
it was almost like starting from scratch. And I needed to do some deep work to see really what was going on. I'm from the age, and maybe you too, of I Love Lucy. And and I that was my favorite show. And as a child, it's like, listening to her, she said, well, what will I tell Ricky? It wasn't about it wasn't like say the truth. It was make something up that somebody else would
Mhm.
understand and accept Lucy.
Right, right.
And that was how I, you know, that was that was how I went through life.
Wow. Well, just only because you brought it up, and I was talking about, loss and things that can put us into
Mhm.
grief. And you talked about your marriage ending during that practitioner time. Was there grief around that? What
Mm.
yeah, how did that affect you? Because that is of
Mm.
one of life's big losses, is divorce or end of relationship, of an intimate relationship.
I would The biggest thing I allowed myself to do, and I thank you for this opportunity. The biggest thing I allowed myself to do is my pattern up to that point had been to jump in the next relationship and the next one
Oh,
and not feel the grief, just step it
yes.
down somewhere. And of course, it came up in different, inopportune times, maybe anger, and such,
Right.
hurt when there wasn't a reason seemingly to be hurt. Um, I gave myself the time to just be in the grief of the,
Oh, you mhm.
and the loss. So I did that for a couple of years. I just sat with that, and I was I had just started the ministerial studies.
Mhm.
I waited a few months and then started my training. So that held me very, very well to dive in
Mm.
to what makes me tick even more.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Mm.
Mm.
And so you feel that you allow yourself to grieve, just like what I said. So it's a bon Fusome was saying, allowing ourselves to grieve, to know that there is a healing. Oh, yeah, I do say this and know this, that
Mhm.
grief's superpower is healing. When
Mhm.
we can really, we use that word lean into, but allowing ourselves to
Mhm.
feel the depth of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, my insight that I will share around grief when I talk about
Mm.
allowing yourself to feel it is that since we live in a society that does not, we live in a society that promotes, what is the word? Toxic positivity.
Yes. Yes.
That we can't really show up feeling sad, depressed, or down because the thing is to, oh, yeah, you to be positive, suck it up, get.
Mm.
Oh, how do you feel about those statements that I'm making, Teresa?
Well, that's the current work that I'm doing right now. Um, I'm doing some work by Parker Palmer. I'm getting ready for my next oral panel because I was delayed in my first one. It's been 5 months. And it brought up a lot of loss and grief. And what I did was I dove into the feelings, still knowing the wholeness of me. And I picked up Parker Palmer's book called Hidden Wholeness.
Oh my gosh, I
Oh
think
my
I
God.
have that book. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
oh my
Oh,
goodness. And
there's no coincidences.
that book.
Oh
So
my gosh.
with Parker Palmer, and Hidden Wholeness, it's allowing, it's welcoming all of me.
Mm,
All of me is welcome here. So all those places that I push away what I don't like about myself and this and that, it's like, ooh, bringing them in and loving myself up. All of me is welcome here. Instead of trying to push away those parts, all of me is welcome, and that's a big healing. So my ministry is about wholeness because I want to welcome all of everyone. I want,
mm,
and in order to do that, it's welcoming all of myself, and it's a
mm,
process, and I'm still that's still evolving.
mm-hmm,
Oh,
mm-hmm.
all it's like all of you is welcome here. That creating spaces where people can feel welcome and invited to be vulnerable and transparent, so that inner
Mhm.
voice can come
Right,
out. That's my
right,
current
right,
work.
right, right. With Parker Palmer.
Yes, and it aligns perfectly with science of mind. I mean,
Mhm,
God bless Ernest Holmes. It's just a wonderful, wonderful philosophy, science of mind, and
mhm.
so they
Um,
meld together very nicely.
mm,
Quakers. He's a Quaker.
mhm. Speak if you can, Teresa. Can you speak more to the Parker Palmer um, book in relationship to grief? Is there any correlation there or
Mm,
tools that one could use for
mm,
healing from grief? Anything there in that particular
mm.
book?
Well, there really is. As I lean into this, and this is where science of mind aligns, that Quakers believe that there is an inner teacher. And science of
Mhm,
mind is, the principle is oneness and wholeness, and we are all one with God.
mhm,
Spirit lives in and as each of us, as me, as you. And so there are two processes that I'm learning right now. One's called the Circle of Trust.
Oh, Circle of Trust. Okay.
And the other one is called the Clearness Committee.
Mm.
So these are two ways to just voice what is going on inside of you in a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh.
there's a lot of details around it, but really it's honoring yourself and allowing yourself to be seen and heard, and know what's evolving, what's alive within me. But if I don't feel safe, I'm not gonna talk about it. I might isolate myself. So it's kind of a way to explore what is the truth of what's going on here. And it may not be the first thing you want to do. I mean, when I was delayed, I was in a lot of rage about it. I was really pretty pissed off about it until I could just sit with those feelings and allow those to express, and but finding a safe place that you trust, whether it's even with a friend, where you can just explore those thoughts and what do you do from here and what's moving inside, and have it all, no judgment from myself, or know that there isn't anybody else I need to take care of. And in circles of trust and clearness committees, it's not about taking care of anybody in the group. It's all just inner work, letting that inner dialogue come out.
And in recommending this, say if you were recommending it to a griever, what would your intention? How would you hope that it would help them heal? Does that make sense?
Well, I'm currently going through my brother. My brother took his life last year, and I was very close to him, though we were estranged for a while. So I have not used it to go to explore the feelings I have about him, but I think it would heal. I love what Parker Palmer said. He said sometimes, for him anyway, that, and for me, when we say something, we can have more, we can be more truthful when we speak than when just in our thoughts. So sometimes thoughts, we can just loop around in our head. And for me, it helped me just kind of heal those places that get looped in my head. And to understand my relationship maybe more with him.
And what's your brother's name, Teresa?
My brother's name, Ron.
Ron. So just so we can, remember him today in this conversation, bring Ron into the conversation with us.
It's a hard one right now. It's the holidays, and there's grief in the family, and it's an interesting process because my mom is very private in the way she handles her grief. She doesn't talk about it, so it's almost like, well, she says he's at peace because he had a lot of issues in life. So I think, I guess she's not grieving, but she's just quiet about it.
Yeah. And that's what I said, Teresa, that we all grieve in our own ways. Maybe some of us are more verbal and vocal in our bringing forth our grief.
Well, you asked how could that help somebody heal, and one of the things that I've been told about this process is, like, if somebody gets a diagnosis from a medical doctor, well, coming into this type of like a clearness committee, and this is really my ministry, is you give yourself another, it's like a second diagnosis.
Ooh.
So you can explore what's going on here, because your body, knows. There's an inner teacher within us all. That wisdom is within us. The answers are there, and with the questions. So the group has these open, non-judgmental questions that they ask you, and so I I just love it. It's a beautiful process, and it's quite a service for anybody that's wanting to kind of discover more what's happening in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Teresa, and just hearing you, talking, you're like all of us with multiple losses, talking about, and even really rediscovering yourself can be a loss of the other Teresa, the before, the before and the after. Does that make sense? Yes, go ahead. I'll let you speak.
It's interesting because this process, and and my role as a minister and a practitioner, it's not about it's not about trying to fix. Nobody needs to be fixed. There's nothing broken here. It may seem like it. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's yeah, I think I'm not sure where I was going with that.
No,
But
I was just asking about grief and even grieving the old Teresa.
Well, I'm so used to thinking I need to fix, or I need to advise, I need to give my insight, the arrogance of me thinking that I know more for you and your life. I can take it back to principle that I know that back of everything is spirit, smoothing the way. But just I've noticed this loss of, well, I don't even know how to talk to somebody. I'm so used to giving my advice, or I'm thinking that someone needs to even, and I like, oh my goodness, I've been through practitioner training and ministerial training, and that still comes up for me. And I love myself up about it, but but so much of the time we think there's something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be healed, something. And for me, it just needs to be like self-witnessed and discovered into the natural unfoldment of life, and bringing it out into the light. And you can call it healing, but it's almost like there's nothing to be healed here, because in wholeness, it's just like it's all the beauty and joy of spirit. The hard times, those deep, tough times, that there's to sit with that and letting my heart crack open like it did when they told me I was delayed. Oh my goodness, it just cracked me open. I'm
speak more to that. Speak more to that being cracked open. What is that sensation? What is that all about?
I recently read this quote. I can paraphrase it, but it says, when you crack open and there's a new you that shows up, don't try to do anything with it, with your new self. Just let it naturally unfold. And I think there's a lot of trust here. There's a lot of trust, a lot of listening, a lot of trust. I like to say, that we are all sitting in the beloved's lap, to finding that way back home, to that place that's never been hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Way home again. and still like, yes, but there is still this place that hurts, and just coming back and like loving that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, loving me up.
Yes. Yes.
Even the thought of it, that's accepted and loved up too. It's all part of the wholeness. Wholeness doesn't mean, oh, it's only the good side. Oh, God's only the good side here. All the rest, ooh, that's the evil stuff there. You know?
Then you have like a slice of the pie missing when you talk about wholeness if you don't include all of the other.
And it's so rich. There's some richness there.
Yeah, that old clown, that old saying, every cloud has a silver lining. Gift has its griefs, even though it comes disguised as maybe the Grim Reaper, but there's still gifts. There's gifts inside of that.
But you can't go there too quickly. You can't tell somebody that. I can't tell myself that. I got to sit with whatever it is and sit and trust. And even in the darkness.
Going too quickly.
When I'm that dark, I don't see the light. That's when but I do know to turn to people like yourself, the practitioners, to my dear friends that will let me know if there is light here, even in the darkness. That you're held. The blood is right here.
Exactly. There's a sense of trust that comes about, and grief really, and when you say cracked open, grief really does. It asks you, wow, what do you want? You may be in that place of, oh, this is hurting so bad. Then there comes the question, how do I move away from this? What can I do to make myself feel better? What would make me feel better? I sometimes ask people, if you could have anything in this moment right now, what would you want? What would that be? Oh, Teresa, I think I'll ask you that. If you could have anything right now in this moment, what would it be, Teresa? Really just breathe into it, lean into it, feel it. What would you want right now? Do you want right now?
Well, it takes me, I'll have to go back an hour to my beautiful community member that lives with us. And I was telling him where I was at, and I was overwhelmed. And I said, I'm getting ready to talk about grief, so I'm feeling grief, and I'm just, oh my goodness. He says, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need from me? And I thought, because that's the first thing that came up when you said that, is arms around me. And he just held me. And I just cried. Sometimes it's just, let me just be, and I don't have to be any other way than exactly who I am right now. Let me just be this person. I don't have to put a mask on. Let me feel love right here. That was so sweet. It was so kind, and he just said, "You're okay. You're right where you need to be." And he just patted my back like a baby, just comfort. And I was just in his arms. It was very kind.
That is
loving beautiful. Arms. A hug.
Oh, you need loving arms.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh well, that just brings me. Oh, I'm just feeling into that myself right now. Just feeling into what it is that you just said about just needing loving arms.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you know what first responders are. Those are those ambulance drivers that come out and scoop people up off the road or give first aid. What is needed in the moment? The first responder to be there. And there are first responders, and I see ministers, practitioners, those holy people. I can use the word holy. This is my show. I can use holy. It's like, wait a minute. Those holy people. I hold those people, or us. I hold us in a sacred place that we're doing just the work that humanity needs. And so therefore, Teresa, I see us as the spiritual first responders. when something happens in a family, when when someone needs, as you said, that loving arm, they're going to call us. So seeing yourself as a spiritual first responder, what do you feel that you need for Teresa, that how you need to be so that you can be there for
Mm.
those that are in need of a spiritual first responder?
Mm. I ask myself that. I appreciate that, Bonnie. You know, because there's a lot of grief in my household
Mm-hmm.
and in my family. And so, for me, it's deepening my practice, spending more time with the beloved.
Mm.
Really, it's really spending time, and you know, it's like I've started answering that call more. Oh, I hear you. Come back home. Come back home.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Here
Mm.
we go. Tend myself, tend my heart, tend my mind and spirit. Let the beloved love me up even more. Be fully aware that that is happening right here, right now. That there is home here, there is peace here, there is compassion here.
Mm. Mm.
So that strength and that courage, that resilience for myself, to be there for myself first and foremost, to allow and open up to let spirits, love and beauty flow easily through me, and spend time in that place.
Mm.
Even
Wow.
in the moment when when it's deep around me, there's an accident, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody is feeling the grief around me, or when I feel it, come on home. So I can be there for myself. That's how I'm there for myself. And then I
Yes.
can be there for others.
Yes. Mm.
So I open my heart. That's the thing about being cracked open. You're touched. I think I'm touched more with my heart cracked open. I was able to be more authentic and
Mm-hmm.
be more vulnerable and find my ministry and my practice and my way.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
a deeper place that is being touched from being cracked open than there was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before. And with each each opening, there is something deeper that happens here. And to just
Mm-hmm.
trust, oh my gosh,
Trust. Yeah.
deep trust and deep relationship. And I have a devotional practice, and so it's just spending time with the beloved. That's where
Yes.
the strength comes from.
Mm. Yeah, and I hear that. I hear that. And that's what I say. People that are in grief, and even those that are preparing to be with a griever, it's about self-care. Gotta touch in, gotta tap in with
Mhm.
you. Um, Once someone gave me a little bookmark, and it said, the very best thing that you can do for the world, the very best thing that you can do for the world is to take the very best care of yourself, to take the very best care of yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And that
Mm.
is one of my number one rules, self-care, and not just, everybody thinks about the massage or a foot rub. I could take that too. But
Yes.
there are deeper and more profound ways of self-care, what you're feeding your mind mentally. Um, you're listening to a lot of news that, physically, what are you doing with your body temple? So
Mhm.
there's so many ways that we can explore self-care, and especially being that spiritual first responder. you get you get a pass to take care of yourself if you needed one, but you don't need one. You
Yeah, I
really
see those things as, a calling, like spirit calling. Like here's an opportunity to deepen and deepen. I really like Michael Beckwith's, the
yeah.
pain pushes until the vision
Visual goals.
pulls.
Mhm.
And those, I think, there's so many opportunities to recognize, oh, spirit's knocking here, and answer that call. Say, oh gosh, I needed you all along. Oh, okay, I'm here with you. All right, right here
Yeah,
within me now.
gotcha.
Ooh, God.
Got you.
And we
Wow.
take it everywhere, wherever we go, with our awareness that we are one with the divine, that we are divine and holy.
Yes, we are beautifully
So the more
different.
that I can do that, the
Hmm.
stronger I can be for others as the stuff, and it can still take me out, still take me out. Mm.
Oh, great, Teresa. Thank you. I want to say a couple of things about some of the insights that I have, and I don't know. I'll say insights on grief, but this is what I'll hold it as. Um, the three pillars are three building blocks of healing from grief, and mine are grief needs to be heard. Grief needs to be heard. Grief needs to be shared.
Mm.
And grief needs to be validated. I, as a person, need to sit with someone and share what is in my heart around my grief, or if I'm in grief, what is going on. I need
Yes.
to share that with someone. And then I need to have it heard, and
Mm.
I need to have it validated that yes, that is a hurt. Yes, I can feel that that hurts you. Yes, I can see that. Yes, that is. So that's what I say three, that they grief needs
Mhm.
to be shared, validated, and heard. Is there any other insights there around grief that you'd like to share on that aspect of being able to move it forward?
I was thinking about your validated, like
Mhm.
who is doing the validation? Validated from outside or validated within myself?
Mm. Oh,
Like
that's a good
I,
perspective. Okay.
but my focus right now is so much about the inner wisdom, the inner teacher. Uh, it's kind of for me like it seems like that validation is a conversation within me with spirit,
Ooh.
for that beautiful validation. I am,
Mm.
it's kind of, this is a heavy load, and to turn it over,
Yes,
because I
yes.
know I do not walk alone ever.
Mm. Mm.
So that validation is, I just see that as spirit said, I'm right here. I'm always right here validating you, validating all that you are and feel.
Mm.
So that's what came up for me when you said validation.
Mm.
Validation. Probably
Mhm.
because, that my oral panels, when they delayed me, I'm like, are they to validate who I think I am? It's
Mhm.
got to come from within. For
Mm.
me, it's got to come from within that I validate. But it's good to be seen, and it's good to be heard,
Mhm. Mhm.
in a safe place.
Right, right. And oh my gosh, and we are social creatures. We truly are social creatures.
Yeah.
Um, I think Bell Hooks says it best
Oh,
that we can't heal in isolation. We cannot heal in isolation.
I I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that,
Mhm.
because it's not just about God within, because God is everywhere.
In
And
everything.
for
In
me to feel my beautiful community members' arms wrapped around me, it's
mm,
like that's important. Like, hey, that was validation, right? Because that's God over there, looking right at me, wrapping his arms around me,
mm. Oh my
so
gosh.
thank you for that awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Teresa. Believe it or not, we're getting to time, which is not fair. I think Joe, the producer, is moving that clock up. Joe, you stop that. Uh,
You're so beautiful. What a
uh,
beautiful, kind heart you have. And the work that you're doing is so important to give
well,
people an outlet to talk about the healing and the loss and the grief. It's just
mhm,
it hasn't been there hasn't been a lot of that. So I really, congratulate you. I
yeah.
honor you for your work is
Mm.
important.
I just want to say I'm holding the mirror for you. I'm showing you what you're doing in the world. That's all. I'm holding the mirror for you. There were so many things that have come up. My gosh, I'm going to have you back because this is only the proverbial tip of the iceberg. Because what I wanted to say when you brought up the book, what's the title of Parker Palmer's book,
Hidden wholeness.
Hidden Wholeness?
Hidden wholeness.
And that book
Yeah.
came to me just recently. I live down in Mexico, for those of you that don't know. Yes, I live down in
That's it.
Mexico. And I came up. And so my sister said, oh, I found a book under the bed. I read at night in the bed, so books wind up wherever
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, here's one of the books that I found under the bed when I moved the bed. And it was the Parker Palmer book, Hidden Wholeness.
And it was hidden under the bed.
It was hidden under the bed, but it wasn't hidden for long. But the reason I say that is because there is a poem in there. It's called Love After Love. I don't know what page it's on. I would ask you to read it because I was trying to find it as you were talking. It's like, no, Bonnie, you can't look for poems. You have to listen to your guests. But it's called Hidden Wholeness. And I think the reason I love it so much is that I think it speaks a truth that you talked about in the very beginning when you found the book. The book.
On the taboo against knowing who you are. Mm-hmm.
And I truly feel that we spend so much of our time and please, no judgment. I'm not judging. These are all observations.
Mm-hmm.
We come into this life being what they say, perfect, whole, and complete, and just, our lives, we're just everything. You ask a little child what they want to be, and they're everything. They're all over the map because we know that we can do it. Then we get deconditioned and we're no longer that. And I just feel like spending a lot of time trying to get ourselves back to that state of being back to that state of innocence and pureness and knowing the truth. And that's why I love this poem. And it's by Derek Wilcock, I believe, but I know it's in the book that you're holding. Mm-hmm. And it's the title of this poem. And I just want you to listen and absorb it too, Teresa, and just feel into it, into these words. And the title of the poem is Love After Love by Derek Wilcock. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photograph, the desperate notes. Greet your own image. Feel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.
I love that one too.
Yes.
Facilitated a circle of trust here at my home, and that was the reading that I used.
Oh my goodness, Teresa.
That was
we are so aligned in that way, and I just ask everyone out there that's listening, Yeah. Find a way to love yourself again, if that is something for you, or just an idea, finding a way to love yourself. And if you already love yourself, find a way to love yourself even more.
Mm.
That's what this is about. Grief brings us back to ourselves. It brings us back to the truth that it is us.
Mm.
It is us that is the commander and the lover of ourselves who's moved through the world.
Yes. So needed right now.
So needed.
So
But
needed.
each one of us are worthy of love. It is our birthright.
It's who
It
we
is,
are.
yeah.
Mm.
So, Teresa, I just want to ask you, as I said, we're closing. Is there anything that you're doing that you'd like to promote, that you'd like for us to know about? Anything at all? We're willing to be with you again. If it's not here, in one of your programs that you're offering. Okay.
I currently have a beautiful devotional practice that I share Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 7:45 Pacific time. And you can reach me through my website, teresagardiner.com. And there you go. And it's a beautiful practice. I've been doing we've been online for almost 2 years now. And it's a beautiful small community of loving each other up. It's a safe place to just get prayer, receive, just be in the presence of the divine that gets called in, just to sit together. It's really lovely. So I offer that, and I am going to be doing more work, circles of trust and clearness committees for people. So there's a lot to be revealed here. I'm really excited, and I thank you so much for bringing me here.
Teresa.
Just, I love you, Bonnie. You're just a delight, a wonder in the world, and a gift. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. I am the one who's in the deepest gratitude and just taking the deepest bow. You know, in Japanese culture, the deeper the bow, the more respect and reverence you hold for someone. So I am giving you today the deepest bow, Teresa, the deepest bow. To honor the work that you're doing, and more importantly, to honor you as to who you are, Teresa. With or without this work, you are.
Received.
Received. A teacher and a light. A teacher and a light.
Thank you,
so
Carla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to bring our show to a close today. And what I want each one of you to do out there is just what I asked Teresa to do. I want you to go to the mirror. I want you to look yourself in the eye and say, what do I need today? What do I need today? Whatever comes up, honor it and do it. Because you are definitely worthy of what you're in need of. And if you're one of those people that feel, oh, I'm selfish, I'm taking time away from work or the family, I say this, that when you go and take care of you, you will be an even better coworker, mother, lover, sister. You'll have even more to give. So I ask you to do that. And my tagline, if I have to have a tagline, I say, don't do grief alone. Don't do grief alone. And so I am going to leave you until next time, but I do want you to know that you can find me on YouTube under Your Doula for Grief. All the past episodes, they're all labeled and titled, and you can just go, you can have fun and cherry pick what you'd like to listen to. But as I say, don't do grief alone. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Ciao. Hasta
Ciao.
luego.
Ciao.
Love you.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Namod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.